When someone says please or thank you or yes sir or yes ma'am, you know that they were raised properly. And one person making sure that all children have this sort of proper training is Bernadette Fernandez. She's the head of Imagine Etiquette and Image Consulting. Bernadette, good morning. Nice to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're very welcome. Now look at me being overly polite. This is really interesting to me because, you know, we've lost a lot of the politeness in our world. Our world's become very coarse, very informal, and not nice. And you're bringing nice back. Tell me what prompted you to do this?
Well, 6.5 years ago, I started Imagine Etiquette and Image Consulting, Inc. for the sole purpose of helping our kids have better manners and to create self-esteem and self-worth. And two programs that I created years ago was my etiquette program and my SIVA program, which stands for self-esteem, value, and awareness. Now, oddly enough, a lot of educators were telling me not to use the word etiquette because it was too proper or upper class. And see, for me, etiquette embodies integrity, character, proper manners, respect, self-esteem, and confidence.
I noticed that that sometimes when you go into a classroom, they recite affirmations, so it gives them a sense of worth, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And my class, most of my students, if not all of my students, recited the 10 daily affirmations that I prepared for them. And it's just to build confidence and respect and manners.
I am beautiful. I am handsome. I am worthy of all good things.
So tell me what your process is. How does someone contact you, and what do you do when they say, we need some of this in our community?
Well, I start with, first of all, you can go to my website, imagineet.com. Mm-hmm. And on our website, we have everything. We have a calendar, which is not only for our students, it's for our educators and parents. So we're running a program now. It's our SIVA After School Enrichment Program. It's designed for pre-K, students pre-K through 12th grade. And we also have an internet safety workshop for our parents, which I have a 16-year-old daughter, and trust me, if I was in this program 6.5 years ago, I wouldn't have known all of the things that our kids are doing online and how vulnerable they are. And if I can pivot back to my after-school enrichment program, we are also offering scholarships beginning October 1st. And for our students who may not be able to afford our programs, we want to make sure that everyone has our programs, because I'm not in schools anymore due to the pandemic. And a lot of my students have been really disappointed about that.
So the old adage about teaching them young and they will never stray far from that has to be something that you really believe in.
Oh, I absolutely do. And I believe in academics as well. Don't get me wrong. But I believe that we have moved away from teaching the whole child. And honestly, after kids graduate from high school and college, grades won't matter. What matters is their character, their integrity, and their self-respect for themselves and others.
Tell me a little bit about those who have graduated from. What have you seen in their life? What life changes are you able to notice in young people?
Well, most of my students, because I stay in contact with a lot of my babies, the majority of them are very appreciative of me teaching them about adulting skills, life skills. I teach my students about finance, business finance. What is a FICO score? I do get into dining etiquette because we need that too. But my students have been really, really successful. And it really is the students that people thought weren't going to be successful. A lot of my kids that are in schools, college may not be the option for them. And for some of my students where college was an option, they felt like when they graduated from high school and went to college and graduated from college, that they had more to begin their life with. They knew how to go to a bank and open up an account without their parents being with them. So my programs are very valuable, very.
I know that in some schools that I have visited around the country and here in Los Angeles as well, for example, Verbum Day, they make their young men wear ties and jackets to school, and please and thank you is very important. Etiquette is a primary part of their education. Yes. How important is that in a classroom setting?
I think it's even more important in a classroom setting. I feel like a lot of students today do not respect the teachers. And a lot of teachers don't respect the students as well. So I'm not going to put it all on the students. I think if etiquette is taught, it's something that my mother used to always say, respect is given if you give it. So etiquette is very important to have in classrooms.
You mentioned your mother, and I assume that there's a little bit of Southern in your background that would say, this is the way I was taught as a young girl.
Yes. Well, my program was pretty much created based on how my mother raised me. That's my curriculum. I grew up having to respect. I knew that when adults were having a conversation that I couldn't just interrupt the adults that were talking, that I had to say, excuse me. I knew that if I asked for something, it was please. And if someone provided something to me, it was thank you. And I'm raising my daughter the same way. I mean, she still writes thank you cards for gifts. She knows how to be mannerable and be respectful.
Well, I grew up in Southern California where etiquette was not a big thing. It was very casual here in Southern California. And I was exposed to the Southern way of life when I married my wife, who's from Florida. And I said, everyone is so nice and so polite. It's different. That part of the country has really, they've instilled that politeness. And it doesn't matter what your social status is. Everyone seems to be able to adhere to an etiquette standard that's very, very much a part of the culture.
It is. And I think this should be a part of all of our culture. And I think that we need to start with our children. Like I said, adults, we've lost our way, and we need to teach our kids the proper way of speaking and actually just being respectful of one another. So again, I want my parents to know that if you go to my website, if you don't mind me saying, at imagineet.com, we have a calendar. And like I said, our calendar is a full service calendar. It's for educators, it's for parents, it's for students. And sign your kids up for our etiquette programs, our life skills, our empowerment programs.
And that's Imagine ET. .com. ImagineET.com. Bernadette Fernandez, thank you so much. I appreciate so much you spending some time with us, and best of luck to you, and hope folks will tune in and say, hey, I want that.
I want that. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you so much. Look how polite we are.
I know, right?